Hi, Marie, turbocharged reading. And it has taken me ages to pluck up courage to make this video, as I am not technically able and my expectations are of a blank screen onto which the different elements effortlessly flow to sequentially build up the picture you see now. While turbocharged reading is beneficial to those who read machine code, its skills originate in the mists of time. And it is these skills that build up, as turbocharged reading itself takes the whole email, article, book, or full coursework directly into your subconscious mind as the first step. And this is the full picture you see now. Then, turbocharged reading satisfies its purpose by gaining understanding in layers, and with these layers comes confidence and memory. And it is these layers I'm going to explain. After taking in the whole picture, you will naturally ignore whatever you already understand, and also disregard that which is not relevant to you. And this is an efficient way to use your time, as too little is not enough and too much is a waste of your energy. With this understanding of what and why, supported by how, you can then proceed with a growing confidence. And with my now acquired clarification of the why I am using this type of presentation, I am relaxed and able to truly say that you are so very welcome, and I'm so pleased that you are beginning your turbocharged reading course with me. So, efficiently, let's start at the start, and that is, how do you turbocharge read your material? Well, you do it in 3 stages or steps, and each of these has its own components. The bottom first step, as you can see, is the largest, as it takes me 3 out of 5 video lessons to explain how to do this. But when using this first step with a 629-page dictionary, it took me only 6 minutes to download all that information into my subconscious mind, using my physical body, directing my mind, and activating my energy systems to pour all those words into my inner mind. And that equates to you seeing this full picture without full understanding or memory of what it represents. And you have all those natural skills now. And if, like my friend June, your physical body doesn't work, then she simply uses her mind instead. Did you know that with each new experience, your brain grows new neurons? So the second step of Books Up is the do nothing stage, as your mind nurtures these neurons to provide the answers you've pre-programmed for that material. It catalogues, cross-references, and collates the information so that you have exactly what you want at that level. And during the third book step, you bring all the required material back from your inner mind to write your essay, pass your test, play your music, and complete your requirements for that material. Moving up, you see that the clock face is not surrounded by a circle because you are not bound by time, as you claim and use the time you have allocated in ways that are appropriate for you and your purpose. You can achieve in minutes or a few hours what may have previously taken you days or even months, especially for those with reading issues. Also, importantly, what you have turbocharged read stays in your mind and is actively available many years later, if you follow the sequences. In exactly the same way that when using appropriate laces, if you tie your shoelaces properly, then they simply stay fastened. Also, time is a very important part of turbocharged reading because you use time to actively keep you on track, to keep you focused and efficient, and also to pass the material turbocharged read into your long-term memory. Time is, in fact, your friend. Moving on. There are the different needs people have for turbocharged reading, but the clock face has only 12 spaces, and you have many areas in your life where you want or need to achieve. Looking towards the centre, we have good old Einstein, and a friend pointed out that he looked like the book was strangling him. And many people do feel that way about reading, or the subject they have to read, or the time reading takes out of their lives. In fact, Einstein is taking over the reading material and making it his own. The author has certain practical restrictions, but the reader is not constrained and uses that material to personal advantage. A couple of people were offended by Einstein being so rude by sticking his tongue out. Now, I admit it is not one of the ways I use to protest when life is not playing fair, but Einstein was so tickled with this photo that he sent numerous as Christmas cards. What had happened was that he'd been attending a birthday party and that it was late, and he simply wanted to go home. But the press were encouraging yet another smile. So he took command of a situation he was not enjoying and made it his own. Notice that his eyes are laughing. There are many times when you have to read material that does not interest you, material that belongs to someone else's agenda, to read when you'd very much prefer to be doing something else. In order to achieve during these times, you have to make the material and the reason for reading it to be your own. And with turbocharged reading, this is achievable. Particularly since during the very first lessons, I include ways to deal with any stress and anxiety you are experiencing with that material, or life in general, including major life events, and the negative self-talk from childhood that might be actively whispering that you are not good enough, that you'll never succeed, all the way through to accepting your genuine success. So the potential to clear the decks is available for you from the very start. And turbocharged reading contains many skills that you take out into other areas of your life. Quite simply, because turbocharged reading comes directly from life. Skills that we have accumulated during our prehistory. Einstein had to flee his own country. He fought against persecution and discrimination. He was a spiritual person, and had he not been a scientist, he would have been a musician. And today, he would possibly have been described as having Asperger's. So collectively, I find him a very able person to represent turbocharged reading's potential. However, some people don't recognise him, so I put a mortarboard on his head to indicate that turbocharged reading is ideal for those of high academic ability and for those studying for a new career while working full-time with a life full of responsibilities. Apart from that, I find him to be an interesting person, and when turbocharged reading, interest is key. Next, we come to the book itself, the reading material that comes in any format, from paper to electronic, letters to symbols and shapes. because your turbocharged reading skills are used when listening to conversations or experiencing and understanding the complexities of life. You notice that the book is open because we see and download both pages at once, and that is why, when using the full sequence, I could download my 629 pages in 6 minutes. Then, during the second step, it will then cook for a time period before the third step of bringing me the results I want at this level of recall. The book, you can see, has a yellow line running diagonally to the corners, and this is indicative of the natural energy techniques we use that we have been practicing from our prehistory, and so are hardwired into us. In fact, the Bronze Age people have been shown to use a focusing skill, and brain scans have shown that this particular skill, which takes nanoseconds to initialize, enables those of us with reading issues to concentrate directly on the information being turbocharged read. As said, when turbocharged reading, you use your body, your mind, and your energy systems in a naturally combined sequence to absorb, retain, and use your required information, while putting the rest into storage. The book is being held by baby or cartoon hands, and this is to show that turbocharged reading is to be enjoyed and that it encompasses all types of reading. After all, someone has to write the cartoons. Also, turbocharged reading is available to the very young who can read with comprehension. In fact, children who are having reading issues can greatly benefit with turbocharged reading skills due to its natural form of reading that uses the body, mind and energy rather than a somewhat isolated intellectual process. And finally, we come to the little area where you can insert a card bearing the subject of the book you are reading, and that subject may be music. And those who turbocharge read their music say that when they first come to play that piece, it is as if they understand it intimately and play with a confidence and relationship that usually takes many renditions to achieve. If your subject is in the arts or spirituality, when you naturally experience and think as you read, then you find that when you reach the third step of turbocharged reading, that you have advanced so much that it is as if you've absorbed that information into your very being. And let's not forget those who read figures to machine code, those who need to remember the difference between this month's information and last month's requirements, and those who wade through legislation or any of the academic disciplines that interest them. All of this is grist to the mill wheel as you put your name into the plastic pocket and make this material your own. And thank you for spending this time with me, because the next step is to move on and for you to actually become a turbocharged reader.